excuse me. I'm going to ask you to leave. The summer I turned 12, I could fly. At the beginning of the summer, I couldn't fly very high. By the end of the summer, soaring. 3 things you need to know about flying. Number 1, when you're taking off, you have got to be focused. You have got to be balanced. Number 2, when you're in the air, you got to be focused and balanced. And number 3, when you're landing, focused, balanced. If you're not focused, if you're not balanced during any of those 3 stages, you end up like I did at the end of the summer. I was trying to become a neighborhood legend, going for the big one. It was like a Red Bull audition. I've got wings. Spoiler alert, I did not have wings. The first 2 stages were brilliant. Couldn't have gone better. But the final stage, the landing, let me qualify that. The crash landing, well, when the cloud of dust and dirt finally dissipated, it revealed me. My Levi's, they were shredded. My flannel shirt, which I'd fancied a superhero cape of sorts, well, it looked like it was fed to a lawnmower. And my bicycle, the 4130 chromoly steel Schwinn, the Predator, it looked like it picked a fight with a semi-truck. See, when I was a kid, we didn't have TikTok challenges to prove our worth. No, we had scraps of plywood, bicycles, and a very questionable sense of physics. So why did I do it? Why did I subject myself to this almost every day of that summer? For the moment. And I'm not talking about the moment of being in the air, exhilarating. I'm talking about the fact I was always in the moment. I couldn't be thinking about the past. I couldn't be worried about the future. I had to be in the present. Eventually, I parked the Predator in front of the station wagon in the garage, hung up my Evel Knievel cape, and I decided to go for something a little more sophisticated, a little more cultured, dare I say refined. I ended up with a stringed instrument. Not a piano, not a violin, not a harpsichord. I ended up with a yo-yo. I know people are saying, hey, yo-yos don't make sound. Oh, they do. There's sound. There's a sound it makes when it hits you in the knuckles. There's a sound it makes when you hit yourself in the eye. And there's a sound it makes when you hit yourself in the mouth and you break a tooth. All sounds I'm quite familiar with. Maybe not the extreme sport BMX is, but my own way of finding meditation. A trick that would last only seconds, I would spend hours to perfect. And I realized the noise of the world, it was gone. I was in the moment of now. And I could stay there for hours. But eventually I grew up. Well, kind of. As a young adult, I realized it was my chance to be an artist. And I wanted to be the kind of artist that would bring happiness and joy wherever they went. The kind of artist that would weave with a palette of colors. The kind of artist that mom and dad could be proud of. So I became a balloon artist. Okay, I know. There's a couple of you in the crowd, and you're saying, being a balloon artist isn't the same as being a real artist. To which I say, well, I think you are wrong, mom and dad. Twisting balloons into animals is not as easy as it looks. You've got to have dexterity just to tie the balloons. And you've got to have hand strength to keep the balloons together. and an eye for symmetry, very important. These were all things I didn't have when I started twisting balloons. Had you opened the door to my apartment the first few hours of me wrestling with these balloons, you would be greeted to a veritable zoo of balloon animal monstrosities. You could be kind and tell people, it's abstract art. What was supposed to be a giraffe? It looked like a walrus with the tail of a poodle and a face that said, please put me out of my misery. If I were to hand these out to kids, they would not be asking for more. They'd be asking for therapy. And my hands, they felt like they were on fire. But as the days went on, the balloons actually began to resemble the creations they were supposed to be. And my hands, well, they'd never been more nimble. And I realized the entire time I was learning how to twist and shape balloons, my inner critic, I'm sure you're familiar with the inner critic. Mine, he was silent. Normally, my inner critic was happy to pull me into the past, remind me of all the stupid, cringy things I've said and done. Or he's happy to take me into anxiety of the future. Here's all the things you should be worried about, Arthur. But while I was focusing on learning a skill, a craft, a discipline, I was in the moment of now. Maybe meditation doesn't have to be about being silent, crossing your legs, impersonating a refrigerator. Maybe meditation can be about motion. Bruce Lee said, the successful person is the average person with laser-like focus. Bruce Lee, master martial artist. Me, pretty good balloon artist. But the principles are the same, whether you're a martial artist or a balloon artist. When you take all the chaos of the world, all the noise, the distractions, when you take all the noise and distractions and funnel them down to one single thing that you can see improvement in, that's meditation in motion. In the movie The Matrix, Keanu Reeves, he portrays Neo, the hero. Neo's the one who could save humanity. And he finds himself on his journey. He's in a room of potential potentials. Any of these people in the room could be the one. Neo watches as a little boy in the hallway. He bends a spoon with his mind. Neo looks at him, and you can almost hear it in his head, as only Keanu Reeves could do it. He says, "Whoa. How'd you do that?" To which the little boy pauses. He says, "Do not try and bend the spoon. That would be impossible. Instead, realize the truth. There is no spoon." See, the spoon is symbolic. It represents the world as we know it. It represents the way you view the world. We cannot change the world. And that's what meditation asks of us. Do not try and change the world. That's impossible. Try to change yourself. Neo uses that information later in the movie to dodge bullets. Oh, spoiler alert. In the movie, Neo dodges bullets. So we know. I'm a big believer in people listen best while watching. Attention, it requires novelty, especially in this modern day and age. Yes. Yes. Guess who didn't date a lot in high school, everybody? When I first tried to balance a spoon on my nose, I could not keep it balanced for a fraction of a second. I had to be okay with failure. I had to fail a lot. But remember, the fool who persists in his folly will soon become wise. When you practice something, you're essentially building a motor in the back of your head to handle the skill. I had to be okay with failing a lot. I had to get to that focus state. Eventually, the flow state, where I could do this without worrying about anything, just thinking about what I'm going to have for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Thinking about, have I maybe made poor life choices, like wasting inordinate amounts of time learning to balance a spoon on my nose? I've become good enough at this, I can even do it while giving a TED Talk. But here's the thing. When you push past the failure into the... I was running out of rug, sorry. Here's the thing. When you push past the failure, past the focus, you end up in that flow state. There's something left. And that's fulfillment. It's not the destination, it's the journey. When you see progress towards a goal, you're developing a growth mindset. And on the way, it's not about being in the past. It's not about being worried about being in the future. It's about being in the only moment we're ever going to truly know, the moment of now. So my question to you is, how are you going to deal with that inner heckler you've got, that critic? Find something you can do, any skill, craft, or discipline. Something you can do without a screen, something you can do alone. Visit it every day. You'll find great fulfillment in whatever it is. Now, my journeys included having to dust myself off from many BMX bike crashes, searching for the other half of my tooth from a yo-yo trick, or trying to convince mom and dad that, yes, mom and dad, being a balloon artist is a real type of artist. Spoiler alert, they still don't believe me. In the end, it's about finding your own meditation in motion and your own way of flying. You've been a good audience. You deserve me.